This session was interesting. Not not in like a horrendous way. Like this was like a just a horrible session. Um, Player 4 wasn't there because he had another thing. I don't remember what it was, but that's okay. That wasn't the interesting part. The interesting part was, well, let me tell you what happened. So the party arrives in Clofield, heading to the Inn of the Wanderer's Nook. They went to the stables to put the caravan there, and Jalmin, the scout, who's been basically running all day for the past 2 days, actually 3, so he's like, guys, I need a rest. Y'all go into the inn. I'm gonna guard the caravan for the night. I draw it out, a kind of basic inn. They have the sort of food bar ordering place. Dulstard sends his nephew Tremish to order things for them. Next to the food counter bar thing is a post, a load-bearing post, and there's also a couple of notes, papers, stamped or nailed onto the post. So the heroes go there, and Phoenix, I think, is the one that goes there initially, and there's 3 different papers. There's a bunch of nails in the wall, but there's only like 3 papers. This has been used fairly often. There's a bounty for like the return of a pig that'd been stolen by goblins for only a few copper pieces, and then similar amount of silver pieces for killing a pack of goblins that are attacking a dwarf's home and his farm as well. And then there was a 3rd one, which was a bounty for 500 GP for the capture of Brandon Lester. Phoenix saw it and his eyes went wide. I had not hoped for that reaction, but it was nice. Things were happening. So, almost as soon as Phoenix saw it and eyes went wide, a guard walked up and started to tear the paper off. Says, "Oh, sorry about that, mate. This isn't supposed to be here." And then a dwarf grabs his arm, the guard's arm. He's like, "Yeah, that is. That's supposed to be there." And so the guard's like, "Brandon Laster is the cousin of the Duke. He has done nothing wrong." And the dwarf's like, "He fled from Tibber after breaking the law there, and he's wanted. Put that back." The guard says, "No, and if you continue this, I will have you detained." 2 more guards have come behind him. Phoenix is like, oh, this is something's happening. Aoth kind of walks near to the side, kind of trying to push away, keep the conversation from happening. Now that there's guards behind the dwarf, now 3 dwarfs stand up and they get ready, and it's a brawl now. So we're testing out the fast-slow initiative system, which was created, as far as I can tell, by Robert Schwalb. And I found it originally from Xanther, the blog, and I'll put links to both of those posts in the description. The way it works, basically, in your rounds you have a fast phase and a slow phase. Fast phase, people get to, you can potentially attack first. With slow phase, you get advantage on one thing, or you can impose disadvantage. Like, if you're casting a spell that has a saving throw, like Fireball, for instance, you can say, alright, I impose disadvantage on that one goblin's save for Fireball. It's a way to kind of, you're gauging the battlefield, looking for weaknesses, but it takes longer to react, and so you could potentially get attacked first. So, Phoenix, being the most dexterous one, decided to go on the fast round, and he got the first. So what he does, he jumps off the post, does a backflip, and tries to jump into the middle of the crowd. That doesn't work, so he stops and he casts Burning Hands. Now, this is the bar fight, alright? Punch, punch, knock, knock, smash with the empty bottle over the head. So, normally, magic does not come into this. Normally, guns would not come into it in our world, and magic is basically the guns of the fantasy world. So when Phoenix pulls out Burning Hands, he actually rolls enough damage to kill some of the guards and dwarves. This changes everything. I thought this was just going to be, they have to choose a side or not, but instead, now things are changed. So the guards and dwarves who are going on the fast round jump on Phoenix, just clobbering him, knocking him down to 0 hit points. So, on the dwarves and the guards' turn, they jump Phoenix, knocking him to the ground, beating him up, he's unconscious, and they start carrying him out. Player 3 was immediately regretted his decision and begged me not to kill his character. I may or may not have done something similar to this in other campaigns, so some of my players know that I might have done this. So, I want to be merciful because I like the character and the player is really good. I said that since you did exactly enough to drop them to 0, they are making death saving throws and they're not dead. And that changed a lot. Albertus rushed up, and he and the guard started using healing word and just medicine checks to try to stabilize these people. Aoth, however, went over. He started trying to pull the dwarves off Phoenix. He pulled one off, and they started getting into a brawl, and it ended up with Aoth using Wrathful Smite and breaking the dwarf's nose, and he kind of stumbled back and fell onto the table. That was a great Barfight thing. And at this point, I'd kind of abandoned the fast slow initiative. Just said, all right, it's your turn. Okay, it's your turn. It's the guard's turn now, and kind of rolling into a cyclical kind of initiative. This was a very dramatic moment, and so I think dealing with something I wasn't proficient in didn't feel right. I didn't even realize I was doing it almost until the combat was done. I just got caught up in the moment. Subconsciously, I was thinking, all right, I'm initiative now. So this kind of DM ordered initiative is not something I'd recommend. It was useful for this very dramatic combat where crazy stuff was happening, and I didn't have time to deal with something that I wasn't proficient in. So that's why I did it. I wouldn't recommend it for every combat, but it works for something. So the action started moving outside the inn, and Albertus pulled out a copy of the Rexius Laws of Barfight. It was a book written by his family. It was very popular back in the Second Age of Peace. He pulls that out and he's like, if you knock somebody unconscious, you have to pay for their meal. Phoenix is unconscious, so I'm going to pay for all these guys' meals. And now, he didn't have this thing before, I don't think, but this was just so spontaneous, spur of the moment. I just loved the idea of this. So I let him. I didn't even wait, do you have that really? So I like this sort of pulling trinkets out of your bag that never existed before, but now it's funny or it's useful. Well, not supremely useful. You don't want, oh, we're stuck in this dungeon. We need a key. Ooh, look at that. I have the key. But Rex, pulling out a book of Barfight regulations, which is just ridiculous. But having that thing, it just made the combat so much funnier. Meanwhile, Aoth is behind the guards, not attacking them, but he's watching, make sure they don't kill Phoenix. Dostard is also out there watching, following, kind of nervously, don't want to lose another guard. So the guards took Phoenix to the castle of the town, where the noble that rules Clofield is situated. His name is Duke George Laster, and like Clara, he also has an interesting story. I'd love for the players to dig deep into it. However, as things change, they might not be able to do that. So the Duke comes down and he's like, wait, what happened? I see many people walking towards me. And so the guards say that there is a bar fight between the guards and the dwarves, and I was like, the guards like, oh, come on. Why? You're supposed to be guards, not brawlers. Stop messing with the dwarves. And then one of the guards says, it was because of the blaster, the bounty on your cousin. And he's like, facing me changes, like, dwarf, get out. Get out. Dostard, because he's a dwarf, he stayed there, and the Duke was like, what are you doing here? I said you get out. And he's like, I'm not with them. I'm just this guy's boss. Please don't kill him. I mean, he didn't. The people are safe. And so Aoth took the more, I will fight you if you try to kill him. And Dostard was like, please, don't kill him. I beg you. Mercy. So there was a little bit of back and forth, and basically when the Duke heard that there was no harm done, they weren't killed, then he decided, you know what, look, I'm already on the hook for my wife. I was supposed to be in the keep like an hour ago, but the Masons needed to talk, and so I have to deal with that. She's already going to be mad. She's already get really nervous and scared that I'm out at night. Just put him in the lockup for a night. That'll be sufficient dealings, and just lock up for the night. That'll be get enough punishment. I'm gonna go talk to my wife. So Phoenix is fine. At some point, somebody stabilized him, and Aoth kind of stood there outside the lockup all night. It's basically just I said, alright, it's a trapdoor, toss him in, there's a ladder somewhere, you can pull him out. So Aox stays by the lockup all night, staying awake because immortal thing. So even though it was interesting, it was actually a really good session. I think we learned a lot. Don't bring fire into a bar fight, because Phoenix learned this valuable lesson and also had a repentant attitude about this. I gave him a good point. I'm not sure if maybe I should have just left it neutral, but I wanted to give him a good point.